Changing Ink Podcast, episode 24, with Danny from the Flippin Sweet Print Co. Hi, Danny.
Can you hear me all right?
Yes, good, thank you.
I hope you can't hear it. Can you hear sirens in the background?
No.
Oh, that's all right then, I can. I'm laughing outside.
I know, that's exciting. So can I start by saying, like, if you could introduce yourself and say what your studio is called?
Yeah, I'm Danny. My print shop's called Flippin Sweet Print Co. Yeah, just a screen print shop. One at Mill print shop, little studio by.
Yeah, I can hear the sirens now.
Yeah,
That woman's, yeah, she's getting dragged away. What could you have done? That's so funny.
You know, pinch, aren't you, next summer out of Iceland, and you were putting up a fight, so
yeah.
Good.
Is that really what happened? You just know that?
Yeah, literally. I was outside building I've been building a workbench all day outside. So I thought, I looked at the clock and about 20 to 6. I thought, right, I better make a run. Mad Jenny turns up. She's been chatting me up outside. I thought, I've got to go, love, I've got to go. And I got in, finally got my tools in, locked the door, and then all these sirens and people kicking off and screaming. And I was the last outside, just been nicked outside.
I thought you were just like hypothesizing, but no, you just saw it all happen.
Oh, genuinely, no, I had a right fight.
That's really funny. So from what I've like learned about you, you've been actually printing for like, I don't know, maybe even well over 10 years, maybe even 13. Like, how many would you say it is?
No, coming up to 10. I think
coming up to 10.
November the 12th this year will be bang on 10 years. But I didn't start screen printing. I started with vinyl heat presses, like a lot of people.
Right, yeah.
I don't think I really kicked off my screen printing until 2 or 3 years into it. It was nearly, I bought the equipment quite early. It took me a while to build up the bravery to start using it. It was always heat press at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've probably been screen printing maybe 7 years or something like that, properly.
Yeah. So now you've come to like, because basically one of the things that like thought that we've got in common basically is this kind of transition. I think you started with plastisol, then went to water-based, and now you're making that jump again, and you feel quite serious about it in so much that you have to like tell your customers about it, that you're moving back to plastisol.
Yeah,
like,
because as a sister, I think sometimes we'll get customers and they'll specifically ask if it's water-based, if it's eco-friendly. And there's a little bit of a stigma. If you say it's plastisol, I think the initial reaction is it's going to be a thick, heavy print, super shiny, and like a rough surface. And of course, they think it's not eco-friendly, which I don't entirely think is true. I think over years I've sort of developed my craft enough to the point where when I originally started screen printing, I always wanted to imitate water-based with plastisol.
Yeah.
So I my plastisol prints to look like water-based. Because back in the day, I couldn't print water-based. It was just too hard.
Yeah.
It's too bloody hard. And to an extent, even now, I can make water-based work, and I have done for a few years now. But the price of it and the extra effort that it takes to print, like that balance has gone now for me personally. So I've chosen to go back to plastic because it's just much more affordable and so much less stress. Just for if I had an auto shop, if I had an auto, I'd probably start looking back at water-based again, maybe. But for now, on a manual, I'm going back to plastisol.
Yeah. Some of the topics around plastisol being bad and water-based being good environmentally don't register with what my experience is.
Right.
So like people just say, oh yeah, plastisol's bad, water-based good. It's like, okay, can we take into some considerations like the amount of, if you're thinking about environmental, Yeah. Waste. I don't waste any plastisol.
No,
It gets, so that goes back. So there's no waste, but water-based, there is waste because it gets grainy and shitty and it can blend into the other layers and you have to throw discharge away. So there's waste on that side. Yeah.
definitely.
And then I don't know how you're curing your water-based, but when I've got my smaller dryer compared to like the industrial ones, I've got to put that to 2-3 times.
Yeah. Well, it's exactly the same. So I've only got a smallish tunnel.
Yeah.
So I can get away with curing it, just running it through once, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And we chuck it twice. That's a lot of electric it's using. And like I say, the waste is probably one of the biggest things. If we I've always printed with the acrylic water-based. That real gummy, and you can't put that back in to the pot. You'll just ruin whatever's in there.
Yeah, you can try, but it just stays on its side, doesn't it, and gunks up on the edge. So it's like you're not going back for that bit. Yeah.
No. So I think the waste we have buckets of we have pots of water-based. We would have absolutely stacks of shelves of water-based, but you can't use. It's useless once you've done your job. And because as well, you have to keep it wet. You have to print you have to have a lot in your screen, keep it well flooded. I think you use a lot more ink. Because I can print in plastisol, you can have a tiny little bead along your blade. Yeah. And you can keep printing.
Yeah, and you've got to that point. I know you have in your career where you've run out of ink, but you're like, I've got 3 shirts. I can do this. Yeah. That you can't do that with water-based. I can do like 2 mil and I can get that last print out.
Yeah, a number of times where you're like, I've just mixed bang on enough. I do always try to mix just enough. I don't like to store ink. I suppose the shop's just not big enough to have shelves full of every single Pantone. So I'll mix just enough to finish the job. And like you say, every now and again, you just like underestimate it. You're like, shit, this last 2 or 3 prints, it's always the last couple. Yeah. But yeah, make it work, aren't you? Just about.
Yeah. But it's like, so there's like the energy consumption part of it to curing the ink where that's using more electric. There's the waste side of it. Yeah. And I just don't know why there's still the negative connotation. I think it's this idea about environmentalism where people think that when you use a plastic bag, for example, that when you put it in the bin or the recycling, someone takes it out and goes and puts it in the ocean. So like every time you're using a plastic bag, you're killing a turtle, but that's not the way it is.
No, of course not.
I don't think there's a problem with using plastic, but basically I think there's problems with wasting things because we all have to use, as we're all in a manufacturing, but I think waste is bad, but not using plastics. I don't know.
I mean, a lot of the plastisol now, it's all phthalate free, so it's not what it used to be. I mean, water-based has a certain amount of plastic in as well. I'm pretty sure it does. I put a post up the other day, and a couple of suppliers got in touch, and one of them said, "You'd be surprised what's actually in water-based." And I did a bit of research, and I think it's acrylic or something like that. The acrylic content in water-based is obviously not quite as much as plastisol, but it's still there. It's not 100% water plastic free. But I just think you have to be practical, and I think you have to be sensible. Be as eco-friendly as you can without compromising quality and efficiency.
And just sanity. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, there are definitely jobs where I've got water-based. I still have it, and I've got it in vats, for God's sake, because you have to buy in vats. But there are jobs where I would definitely use water-based, 100%. Yeah. But then 90% of commercial work, they just want vibrancy. They want like nice fine lines. They want you to Pantone match. You can't Pantone match with discharge, as far as my skills go. So it's the obvious choice, isn't it?
Yeah. So. I mean, Pantone match with discharge, but I don't know. I think if you're a discharge shop, you'll master it and you'll crack it. But if you're going between different inks or whatever, which I am as a small shop, I can't. I don't know. I feel like it's years of effort that I'm probably not going to put in to it. Whereas going back to plastisol, I can just get back to my roots and I can just be totally focused on making that the best possible print I can. Concentrate on fine dot work and, you know, super vibrant prints that pop. And you can still make plastisol soft and light as well.
Yeah.
A lot of it falls down to it's how it's printed. The negativity around it being thick and heavy and gritty, it's mainly because it's just been printed rubbish.
Yeah, exactly. It's just because someone's kept going at it because they're over flooding it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just interesting because every time you put out that question, I've put out that question. I've asked loads of suppliers directly, what is it about plastisol that's bad or worse than they don't respond. They do this like airy fairy sidestep thing.
I think it's I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think a pot of water-based ink next to a plastisol, the contents of it are better. But like you say, it's a practical side to it. The amount of waste you use, the amount of energy that has been used to produce that water-based ink, the amount of energy it uses to cure it, and then just purely from my point of view, the amount of effort it takes to print it. That balance has just gone now for me.
Yeah.
But that balance has gone because the costs of water-based have gone so far.
Is that what you were saying? Because you're very open in your descriptions on social media. Like, I haven't seen anyone else do it as much as you, where you're like, this is what happened today. And it's basically like a diary entry, isn't it? So I think I scrolled down and saw one and it was like, yeah, the cost has just gone bananas and all these costs have like really got on top of you all in one day, especially.
Yeah, I like to have a bit of a moan every now and again. I think I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't think you should. As long as every post isn't a moan, you don't want to come across as a bit of a, you know, a bit of a misery. But I like to be honest, and I can do that. I can wear my heart on my sleeve and write a big post. Whereas if I put a picture up of something I've printed, and I'm, you know, there's only so much you can write to describe that. So on the occasions that I do an Instagram post, I do, like say, try to do it sort of as a diary post. And you know, I'll if there's anything funny that's happened in shop on the day, I'll bring that up. I'll tell people what we've had for us dinner.
I don't think everyone thinks you're a grump. I wasn't saying that bit. I was thinking it's just like this. It's this personal expression on a technically business account. It's just something that's unique to your shop. Well, not unique, but it's rare to see, isn't it?
It's something that I've sort of consciously battled with. Quite a lot of years ago, I had a customer who was an absolute nightmare. He became quite threatening, totally unreasonable. It became quite threatening. And at the time, I just felt, if I wasn't so personable, if this was a business account, if this was Flippin Sweet rather than Danny at Flippin Sweet, if that bloke would have been quite so asking for favours, and when he didn't get the favours, you know, anyway, all went a bit crackers. So I had a spell where I thought, sod this. Got rid of my name. I got rid of any sort of personality, and I just did the pictures of t-shirts and whatever's printing, and I put the stamp stuff. And I think I did that for a couple of years, and it lost a bit of something. It lost a bit of something for me. I lost a bit of passion in what I was doing. Yeah,
you kind of like accidentally allowed him to bully you and push you back into your shell. Yeah, it's just...
And it felt quite damaging for a number of years. It took a bit to cope with that, because it's hard not to be defensive after something. You know, it happens to every screen printer. At some point, you'll get somebody who's just a bit of an ass.
Psychopath.
Probably get a few at some point, to be fair. But I guess you've just got to. You learn to deal with it the hard way, don't you? I think. Eventually, you realise just let it go over your head, because you can't please these people, and you can't let this tiny percentage of, you know, not very nice people ruin it for the 99% of your customers who are all, you know, amazing with you.
Yeah.
So,
but they're not the ones that you're running in your head for the rest of the day and trying to contemplate how you're going to answer them and, oh, are they going to come to the studio and all this kind of stuff. I know exactly who you mean. I think it's like the same kind of like the same kind of person, just like keeps going into different bodies. So there's always going to be, everyone's going to interact with them.
probably the same bloke. Goes from shop to shop, probably.
I know, probably.
Yeah.
It starts on the phone though, doesn't it? It's like, oh, I got messed over by this other printer, and it's like, red flag, you're the fucking nightmare. We're not deliberately trying to fuck you over as like a group of people. So
no. Why would you want
I don't know. And then they won't tell you what it is.
No. Yeah, I think you grow, you start to learn all the little red flags, and that's like one of them instantly. Like, yeah. I wonder.
What other red flags have you got then?
Red flag. You can just tell by tone of emails, I think. So I don't do emails anymore. Jasmine, we have a lass called Jasmine who works with us. She does all my emails now, and even she started to pick it up now. She's probably been here about a year. And the other day she saw an email and she was like, Danny, look at how he's wording this. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not polite, very blunt, very to the point, very I don't know, you just feel like you get messed about a bit, don't you? If there's a million questions and your answer's never quite good enough, and you're just like, I daren't take this order because it's going to blow back at me. Because I'm going to tell he's going to pick at something, and you just pick it up eventually, don't you?
Yeah. I know. But also it's harsh because you see new printers come in and they don't know. And then they're asking on Facebook, like, how should I deal with this person? And I'm like, God, yeah, I've seen that's another like variation of that's happened to me. And you're thinking, you need to drop it right now. Like, just stop the communication and walk away. There's no good is going to come of this interaction.
No.
No.
Yeah, like, not every one of those encounters is going to end in disaster, but it's almost not worth giving that chance. Yeah. You've got to get all your terms and conditions in place as best as you can. Set out your guidelines and stuff for how to order, and make it straightforward and put everything you can in front of them. So if it's like, you know, as few questions as they could possibly ask, because you've sort of already answered it. And then when these customers come up, it's like, well, they've not really looked at, you know, we've sort of everything, and they're still picking at something. It's when they want favours. That's the biggest thing. Do us a favour. I've never heard of you before, but do us a favour. I need this shirt by next Friday. And you're like, I know instantly, just don't do it. Yeah,
exactly. But yeah. I do actually like really respect all the work that you've done on the background of your website with your T's and C's, and you've got the order form, which looks very slick, and you've got, it's like the t-shirt placement, like templates, or just basically all of them laid out. It's not only like makes you look like a really professional, like well sorted studio, but it does what you say, it like guides the customer to know that you're not taking any shit because you've already thought of it. Or
it's the more you can put on your website, the better. I mean, my website's a work in progress, but at some point I'll pick it back up and chip away at it again. But I try to look at my website as every page, I like to have a little FAQ at the bottom, and I just think of what questions are they going to ask, and if you just answer it at the bottom of the page, you just sort of, especially as a smaller shop, you sort of answering questions before they can email, and you have to spend time back out over and over and over. You know, the more you can get on there.
Sorry, because it is kind of dead time. You're not getting paid for doing emails. You're only getting paid for what you've quoted on the press. So the press isn't spinning. You're not making the money that you could have. There was like another couple of things that I wanted to figure out how you deal with them, because I noticed on the website you do allow customers to bring their own garments in. And then your minimum is 10, So isn't that like a bit scary for you if like you were to do like a misprint on a random garment that you can't quite supply again? Or like, how do you get around that? Or have you not found any problems with people supplying garments?
No, I tend to do that. I tend to encourage customers, long-term customers, to do that. Customers that we work with, and we know what garments to use. I'll help them out and show them the suppliers. I'll show them how to use them. I'll help them get an account set up. It just takes a job off my hands, or it takes a job off Jasmine's hands. We don't have to be checking stock. We don't have to be, saying, well, this garment's suitable, whatever. The customer can access all that, and then literally we just get boxes of shirts turn up, and then we just print them. Because we've told them which supplies to use. It's going to come from Malawise or where, anyway, so we know it's printable for the most part. But we always vet the order before we actually send out.
Right.
So if somebody wants some screen printing with nylon rain jackets, we can stop that before it turns up.
Yeah, I see. But like, are you not, because like with our pricing, we quite openly put a margin on the garments because we've negotiated that with the supplier. We spend tens of thousands of pounds with that supplier. So that margin is for us that we've negotiated. So we do pass on savings to the customer, but we are also making a profit per garment.
Yeah.
Are you not leaving like money on the table by not doing that?
I am. There's a reason for it. I'll let you into my little secret. It's purely that doing that for the past few years was purely to skirt beneath the VAT threshold.
Oh, okay.
So I have been VAT registered in the past. And then
can you come out VAT registered?
Yeah, So when I first started, I built my business up to a certain level. We had to go VAT registered, but at that time we were doing lots of stuff on eBay and Amazon, individual with heat press and stuff, as well as the screen printing. At a certain point, that kind of all collapsed. So all of a sudden, his turnover was, completely plummeted. So there was no real need for us to be registered at that time.
Oh, I see.
So we deregistered. And then as I built up the screen printing side of the business, the closer we got to that VAT threshold, every time I put my calculations in my spreadsheet, I'm like, if I'm going to jump into VAT, I need to really jump. Because if you just tiptoe in, like that 20%, or, whatever it works out at, it's quite costly. It hurts quite a bit when I look at the profit,
how do you understand how it's affecting your profit?
So, well, obviously you've got to pay 20% VAT to the government.
That you've collected, but only what you've collected and haven't.
Yeah, so I guess if I don't alter my prices, should I say? I mean, I could put 20% on top of my price, what I'm charging.
Yeah.
And then risk, pricing everybody out. It depends on it. I think it depends on your customer really, because if you've got small customers who are not VAT registered and you put % on top, they're not going to be best pleased that the price has gone up and they can't claim it back. When you start and you're getting bigger orders, bigger companies, they want that 20%. They want to see VAT because they know they can claim it back. So it's just finding that balance, I guess. But I've just literally just watched the podcast you just put out about the accounting side and the profit first and the VAT, and you've got me thinking. So
because also, Danny, you've got this massive fucking paycheck that comes back to you on the first few months. I think I got about 12,000 back, just back in your VAT. Yeah, on all your equipment for the last, I think it's 3 years, something like that. Yeah. So, imagine that little pay bump. That would help soften the blow.
You'll never it'll soften the blow a little bit, but you'll always pay more out. I mean, as far as I've worked out anyway. But it's something that it's going to be taken out of my hands. this over the next few months I've got to do it anyway, so I've got no choice. But
I wouldn't
luckily,
feel bad about it. When I went VAT registered, I had the same kind of thoughts that you did, that all these people are not going to be my customer anymore. But no one blinked. No one said anything.
it's a bit like the whole thing. I initially thought everybody's going to be like, oh, is not eco-friendly anymore, and they'll all go to somewhere else. But like, I've not heard, not one customer said out yet. So the same sort of thing.
No, I think because we're in it, we're living it, we think everyone's thinking like we are, but no one cares. No one's thinking about us.
No.
So, like, your customers don't care, but I'm just saying, like, this like fear about charging them more and stuff, it's it never transpires as being as bad as you think, in my experience. Even when you put up prices, people understand that this is inflation. This isn't them being money grabbers. If they're not putting up prices, they're losing money as a business. If they lose money as a business, they can't serve the customers anymore. They can't hire people. And then where do I go for my shirts?
Yeah.
And it's injustice, not only to themselves as a business person, but it's done injustice to us as a consumer. So it's a horrible cycle. And then,
It's something I've got away with for a while. Just skirted beneath that threshold, but like I can't really put it off now. I know in next couple of months I need to be calling HMRC and get it sorted.
Yeah, someone will push over.
Yeah, someone actually we did. I have got a suspicious feeling we have lost a customer like 2 weeks ago, and we quoted them up, and they was happy, they were ready to go, and we've printed for them before, and they asked the question, is the VAT to go on top of this? And when I told them we're not VAT registered, I haven't heard back from them since. So maybe not to worry about it, because I think those customers, they want that 20% back.
Yeah, there's another thing, because I was interviewing Ola from a company called Ripples. It's up in Scotland, and she said she had to go VAT registered because no one would take her seriously in the area, in the industries that she was trying to get into. Yeah, like schools and councils and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. I definitely think that particular customer probably had the same thought. Something to do. It's on my list.
Slightly more fun topic than a deep dive into finances, but like, how do you feel about like artworking and stuff? Because I know did you do your own like Flippin Sweet design for your sample shirt, or like do you like commissioning people, or what software do you use, all those types of things?
I commission it now. I used to do a lot of years ago. I used to do a bit of artworking in Photoshop and stuff. I used to do all my separations. It got to the point over the past couple of years where it's just more effective to outsource it. So I have a bloke called John who does all my film separations now. Literally, I just get a PDF file. I just send it to AccuRip, and that's the job done. And artwork as well. My sample shirt, it's from Ramona Sketch, I think it's called. He's like I feel a lot of screen printers like his stuff. It's got a really cool style. Yeah,
it's got that aesthetic.
But I think I just have designs for sale, that follow that hashtag. And every now and again, you'll see something that pops up. You're like, oh, I'll check that artist out. And next time I need a sample shirt doing, I'll just get in touch with them.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Well, so you've just thought to outsource it because it's just not you're not adding any value in particular. You're adding value on the press, I suppose.
Yeah, I just haven't got time for it. I've got time for it as well. I'm just not that good at it anymore. Design work and drawing things from scratch. If you're doing it all the time, you're good at it. But I've just lost that now. So I'd rather just.
Yeah. So how have you found like building a team? Like what kind of places have you put them into? Because I see that you've got other people in there. Like, what were the first roles that you wanted to fill, and how's it going? And are you still with the same team members, or have you had to keep rehiring?
Pretty much. in recent years, we've got Jade, who's my sister, and we've got Jasmine, who she deals with all my admin and stuff like that. Both of them are part-time, which is just it was a good step into having people out in the areas that take me away from the press. Emails, quotes, invoices, it's teachable. I can show someone how to do it. And it's quite daunting at first, because you like that control. When you get a quote come through, you want to email it in your way.
I know, that's really hard.
But you know, when you take someone on, they become friendly with customer instead of you. Like, so, you know, it works its way out. But it's been it's great to have people to just take a couple of jobs off me hand. And Jade, my sister, she's just my right hand man. She'll catch shirt, fix ink for me. You know, just all the little jobs that keep me stood at the press printing.
Yeah. Oh, that's really useful that you've got your sister, because it's like trust isn't an issue, just a given, and you can also like not take the piss, but you also don't have to like think that heavily about, oh, if you've taken a break, or if you've done your lunch, or what your holiday pay, all that bullshit. It's kind of just like, we're just going to communicate and talk to each other.
I'm lucky because we all get on so well. I don't have to tell anybody what to do. They just crack on. We'll laugh and joke about all day and do stupid stuff. But I mean, if anybody, you know, like Jasmine will stay a little bit later. If she's been joking about or whatever, she'll make up for it. And I don't even have to ask her. I've never asked her to. She just does it off her own back. And Jade, so I think I have had bad employees in the past, but I've just got lucky, and you know, I've got two people to two good ones, good eggs.
Yeah. So do you feel like what would be like a comfortable size for Flippin Sweet? Like, are you thinking just stay with the one carousel, or are you thinking like ultimately, say if we fast forward like 5 years, would you think bigger space, 2 manuals, or would you go auto, or what are your plans?
Auto. I wanted to do it by end of this year, but we had a real slow start to the year. I had some technical issues with my emails. It turned out all of our emails were going into people's junk mailboxes. And didn't be inboxes at all. So that sort of screwed us over at the start of the year. But my plan was to go out to get a bigger space and to go auto. And I still want to be almost that one man auto. I don't want too many employees. I just keep it nice and small as best as I can. I could do a lot of work on an auto on my own.
Yeah, I think you could. Also, it's kind of like, are you going to think like, let's try and mechanize this instead of getting employees where possible? Like, would you get a machine over employing someone to do like screen cleaning, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I had a lad who used to clean screens for me, but he's moved on recently. That's probably somebody who I would take on, because until I can afford, you know, auto reclaim and quotas and stuff like that, I would definitely choose over paying someone because it's cheaper in the long run, and it does a better job. It'll do even I can. So I'll definitely go down that route when it's an option. The more you can, you know, automate, the better for me. So that my goal. End of the year, I kind of want to be at least have a deposit down on an auto, and then looking at a bigger space, and then hopefully next year, you know, get all that sorted.
I see. So like have it on order, because I'm assuming that space, it looks like pretty big, but it doesn't look like 3-phase like set up with gas lines and all sorts of.
I've measured it up, and
everyone's done it. We're all like, I think.
I kind of worked out that if I were to put an auto, so this is the second floor, and then there's a space downstairs. And I thought, can I put an auto downstairs? I could get it wall to wall with like a couple of inches either side. All of it goes into the back room, so I'd have to literally crawl under the auto press.
Yeah.
So that's not an option.
I can see how it's tempting though, but yeah, I get that other people would be like, you'll never be able to do it. So yeah.
No. I probably measure up like every 3 months because I'm like, have I measured it wrong? Are you sure you can't fit it in? Because if I can do it without moving, I've crapped it because it's all hassle. So,
have you looked at ovals instead of circular designs that you can add on to?
Yeah, because the building it's long. That is the issue. If it was more square, I'd be all right, I'd be fine. But because it's long, but the only thing with the oval is then I'd need a big dryer as well. I just couldn't fit a dryer and any type of auto press downstairs.
Are you worried about losing some of the craft element of screen print and like your control on the press, like by getting an auto?
No, not at all. No, because it's like you do it. That's all done in the setup. Everything's screen preparation, artworking, mixing the ink. That's what screen printing is. The quality of the print on your shirt starts before you even pull your squeegee, and you can get all that even more dialed in when you've got an auto, because you've got if you can accurately replicate your pressures and your squeegee angles, whereas I'm doing it by hand. Every now and again you're gonna move, aren't you? You're gonna do something slightly different. So if any, I mean, and I don't understand how you couldn't improve your print quality with an auto. Like, surely it can only get better.
Yeah, I think what I've seen though is people going from not mastering manual to auto, and then it not being great. And it's like, yeah, because you don't understand the intricacies of why you're doing what you're doing. You're just doing what you think you're supposed to do. Yeah. So then, all those things you have to fix as a manual printer. So then you're just carrying those on. But
oh yeah, I think if you serve your apprentice on a manual, which I've definitely done now, I've definitely served that apprenticeship. When you switch to auto, I mean, you're gonna be set up to. Whereas like sometimes you'll see shops pop up, and they've just dove straight into it. They've obviously got some money behind them. I don't know how, but whatever. They've got all the gear, and and you can just see the prints look shit, super heavy, and don't know what they're doing. And well, if you serve your apprentice, you won't have that problem with you. You've got to make all the mistakes. You've got to spend years upsetting customers every now and again.
Yeah.
And you got to take that harsh reality on board of letting somebody down, because that'll make you so persistent in never feeling that again, and you'll out all these problems. And when you get into the auto world, I think that sets you up way better than just jumping in. Yeah,
it's true. It's also funny, like I hear all these different things. Like some people are like begging for tuition, but they actually don't want tuition, they want it for free. So it's like, okay. And then other people are like, oh no, I just want to learn it on my own. But if you could go back and learn like in a workshop condition for like maybe a week, would you take that with hindsight now, like for like all those kind of problems that it might have stopped? Or do you think you should have felt them in real life with real money on the line? And
I don't think I'd take anything back. I've had it was a very harsh, steep learning curve, and anything that could go wrong, I've done it. I have messed everything up, but I think that's just how I personally learn. I basically dropped out of school. I couldn't listen to teachers telling me what to do. I just couldn't take any of it on board. I had any sort of education I've sort of self-taught myself. Luckily, when I was young, my family got a family computer real quick when I was quite young, and I just learned from that by doing it myself. whereas listening to teachers and stuff like that, it
Yeah.
just out, you know, I just can't take it on board.
I don't think it's a personal question because every other printer is. Are you dyslexic as well? No.
I could. I've never checked.
Not sure.
Not quite right. I don't think there's something not quite right, but
I've just noticed that it's like a tendency amongst us, like people who like to work with their hands and stuff.
yeah. Well, I have heard that. I've got a mate who she would tell me a lot of self-employed and creative people that, you know, there's I guess a high percentage of them have got some on that scale or whatever. I don't know. Possibly.
Yeah. Well, we can't sit still. We're definitely, it's all a spectrum, whatever, but we can't sit still. We don't like rules, don't like being told what to do. No. And we're not like reading, writing people, even though you're actually very eloquent in all your writing. So
yeah, I feel like I'm quite a good writer. It just speaking. I can't talk at all. I'm not very eloquent. I'm not an eloquent speaker. But my descriptions are not bad.
Yeah. So you're like la 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 la, and then as soon as you put your pen to paper, you're like William Shakespeare.
I sound quite posh. I think if you hadn't heard my voice, you'd probably think I'm quite posh just by looking at me. But nah.
That is for funny. They're like, oh no, I want to talk to Danny, and you're on the phone. That's funny.
Yeah. Right, honestly, I have to try voice on when somebody rings, but
yeah, I know. I've actually like. Yeah, I definitely have a little bit of a posh voice, but I think it's more like professional voice.
Yeah. I think I do worry that well, luckily I've got Jasmine now. Jasmine answers the phone. And Jasmine, you know, Jasmine's all right. She's got this is posh, but she's got a phone voice. When they pass it on to me, it's like, God, am I going to put them off? Because I don't know. But and luckily I've got away with it so far, I think.
Yeah. No, I think you must have. Have you got any like, I don't kind of say advice, but like, have you got any like shop hacks for people or things that, yeah.
Oh, I should have thought of this, shouldn't I? Shop hacks.
Or just something, you can change it to things that you kind of like implemented in your studio that you just like can't give up now because they're so good.
Never take ink out of a pot and put it on your screen. I always, whether it's a bit of reducer, whether it's a bit of puff additive, there's always something. I never ever take ink out of a pot and put it straight on the screen. This is like I say, when I was saying about imitating water-based, you know, using certain percentages of reducer, high tension, high mesh screens, a little bit of puff additive just to take that glare.
Matte out. Yeah, matte it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, down. Just little things like that. There's always something that I'll do to an ink, and it changes from colour to colour, because sometimes you'll mix a colour and it's not got quite as much white mixed in, so it's not quite solid, it's more translucent. So when you print it on top of that white underbase, those colours tend to be more shiny. So I might use a little bit more puff additive, only a couple of percent, and a little bit less reducer. You know what I mean? So that's only something.
Do you think unless you get to 10%, it's not actually going to puff? It's just matting, and then puff.
No, I've never pushed it too far. I think at a certain point I think even if you put like 5 or 6%, you're going to see an effect. It's going to change the ink past the point of matte to, you know, you might see some. So no, I'll only push it 2 or 3% at most. But yeah, just changing it up, just depending on the colour of the ink. I think that's probably my number one shop hack that I can think of, you know, off the top of my head. Just never straight out of the pot.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. I'm getting better at not being lazy and doing stuff like that because, yeah, obviously when you're doing a lot of panto mixing, it's so smooth and whipped up anyway. So then you can just not particularly add anything and still get like a good effect. But yeah, I get what you mean by I don't really buy pot colors. The only thing in a pot is like white. Yeah,
well, I mean, I never do I. Everything's Pantone mixed. But even that, I'll Pantone mix for colour, and then there'll be a certain amount of reducer, a certain amount of puff additive. even those I'll do it with white. I don't really do anything to white other than mix it.
Mix of shit.
I'll leave it on top of tumble dryer for a bit, and yeah, that's like. So I guess that kind of comes out straight out of the pot, but it's been properly mixed up.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And then, is there anything that, because you don't seem to have been pulled into any like bad directions with kit and stuff. You seem to be very strict on being a screen printer. Is that right? Like,
yeah. I made them mistakes years ago. I had a big, large format plotter printer. So I had all the banners, the stickers, vinyl for cars, stuff like that. I did all that years ago. I had the heat presses and the vinyl cutters for t-shirts, which is how I got started. That it was just a distraction. Ultimately, when I first started this business, I wanted to do the type of t-shirts that you couldn't do with vinyl. I wanted to do a lot of t-shirts, and I wanted to do designs and stuff that wasn't solid vector, halftones and stuff like that. And even before I actually got started, I knew that screen printing was the way to do it, but I had no money. I couldn't do it. I couldn't afford any equipment. So I sort of built up with nothing. Eventually, I could afford a little vinyl plotter and an heat press. And then I just chipped away at it. And then before the end of that year, I'd purchased a 6x6 workhorse press, a manual workhorse press. That sat collecting dust for like 2 years before I actually used it, because I didn't have a tunnel dryer or a flash dryer. And then eventually I built up, you know what I mean? I just eventually built till I had the gear. And when I had all the gear, it took me probably another year before I worked out how to use it all. So that's how I got.
Yeah, that's how I got my kit. I had shit kit. Just kept selling and repeating and trying to upgrade. Until I've got something that I'm happy with now, and I can do everything that I want to be able to do.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I started doing all the screen room, so the exposure unit, stuff like that. I've gone from I got rid of the BBC flashes to a semi-automatic one. So now it's on a timer.
Yeah.
Now I know every single shirt is flashed to the second that I need it to be. That makes it. That's like that. I would say that's probably the best upgrade as far as printing goes, because I just know it's just so much accurate. That takes a lot of headache out with shirts being slightly moving for registering, or you might not quite count it right in your head. I mean, you come to print it and it's still a little bit too wet. That was probably one of the best upgrades in recent years that I made anyway.
So you think the heat, when it goes under the flash, it can like warp?
Yeah, so like
and miss off registration sometimes.
Not so much on t-shirts. It can on t-shirts a little bit. I think more for like sweatshirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you overflash a sweatshirt or a hoodie, the moisture will come out and it'll contract slightly. I mean, also new registration. I always anything sweatshirts or hoodies, I always run through dryer before we even get started.
Just get up to.
Yeah,
that's a really good one. That's a really good one.
That just gets rid of all that moisture. You're just taking that out of the equation. But even once they've all been run out at dryer, stacked back up, get them on press. I won't put it on press and then print it, or put it under flash, and then when it comes back round, I'll print the first layer. Just to be when you're printing hoodies and sweatshirts, that always makes a good difference.
I know, it's really funny when people call me all the time because I send out these screens and they're like, t-shirts all brilliant, hoodies, and I'm like, yeah, go on. Yeah. What happened with the hoodies? Because they just anticipate it being exactly the same. And they don't like increase the snap. They don't like do what you say, like, because the t-shirt's not going to hold much moisture. But the moisture, and then just the texture. So the texture can really throw up with fibrillation if they've got like shitty hoodies, and it's really interesting. It's like a whole new. That's how you test a new printer if you're ever going to do a big order. throw in something with like white, big
Yeah.
on the back of a hoodie, and then that'll cut out half of them. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a learning curve, but
mm,
like I say, that's one of the that's where serving your apprenticeship comes in, because
yeah.
you've got to go through ruined hoodies and sweatshirts before you realise all these little things, like, you know, like getting the snap right and preheating it all and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you just jump,
Awesome.
you're never going to work it out.
I know you already know quite a lot of the previous podcast guests, but is there anyone who you haven't seen on that you'd want to see interviewed?
Let me think. You have pretty much interviewed everybody I talked to be honest. Gorilla Print, he's
yeah.
I don't know if I've
He's moved. I think he's quit or moved on, and I think his nephew's been brought in or something. So there's like a transition period.
Right, I didn't realise that, because I know he's been printing for, I think, a very long time. So it'd have been interesting to hear his story, I guess. Who else? I don't know. I've got my DMs open here. Who do I talk to?
You can DM me later if you think of anyone, because that tends to happen after the episode. They're like, get this person, this person. But yeah, it'll be really interesting to see who you suggest, because that just carries the chain on, doesn't it?
I'll have a look. Yes, Flex Print.
Yeah, it's like flexprint.io or something like that, isn't it?
Flexprint.ie. He's good to talk to. Chat to him every now and again. He's all right.
Yeah. Cool.
He's probably his shop size is probably fairly similar to ours. In fact, actually, he's literally this Christmas just gone auto, so that might be a good talking point.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I'll try and like get some more information up for you as well, so you can hopefully learn from his stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. I really appreciate your time and stuff, Danny. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And don't forget to send me a selfie so that I can put it up.
I'll try my best.
Okay. Do something close up, because I kind of crop in. Everyone's like doing these like far away ones at the moment, but yeah, nice up and close and personal. Okay, cool. Have a nice evening. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.